going to help you shut down your employer when he's trying to steal your money out your check, say he's got to do this and he's got to do that. Well, this uh, is the employees' account numbers. If you guessed it, that it's your social security number is an account number. That's what this is talking. This is what this is talking about. And let me go and read it. I'm going to read through this. I might skip a few sections. Uh, try to cover what applies to most people. So here we go. 26 CFR 31.6011B-2 employees account numbers. Requirement of application in general. I'm skipping number 1 because that's before 1962 and may not apply to most people right now. But here we go. 2. On or after November 1st, 1962, every employee who on any day after October 31st, 1962, is in employment for wages which are subject to the taxes imposed by the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, or which are subject to the withholding of income tax from wages under Section 3402, but who prior to such day has neither secured an account number nor made application therefore, shall make an application on Form SS5 for an account number. So, what's an account? Yeah, they call it an account number. And they also said Federal Insurance Contribution Act. That's FICA. That's that
Right.
person. Mute your mic, everyone. I know what I'm gonna do. I will do it. All right, if y'all can mute your mic, thank you. It's got it. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's look at what Wikipedia says about the Federal Insurance Act. It says the Federal Insurance Contribution Act is a United States federal payroll or employment contribution directed towards both employees and employers to fund Social Security and Medicare. Federal programs that provide benefits for retirees, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. So FICA is for retirement, people with disabilities, and children of deceased workers. Okay, so it's not just for retirement. So you might know someone or you might have someone in your home that is disabled, and that's what that money is funding, right? And they said it's a contribution. So, what's the definition of a contribution? Okay, because when I think of contribution, it's a gift or payment to common fund or collection. Donation, here's the synonyms. Is my screen big enough? I'll make it a little bigger. Donation, gift, offering, present, handout, grant, subsidy, allowance, endowment, subscription, benefaction. So, by their definition, that FICA is a gift. You're giving a gift to this FICA fund, and it's not mandatory, as they may say. You have to give up this money. You have to give away this money. Like your employer would say, and so many people with street logic would say, because the only knowledge they got is what somebody told them. Like most people on this planet, their knowledge is hearsay. So that's a contribution. Let's go back. 3, method of application. The application shall be prepared in accordance with the form, instruction, regulations applicable thereto, and shall set forth fully and clearly the data therein called for. The employee shall file the application with the District Office of Social Security Administration, or if the employee is not working within the United States, with the District Office of Social Security Administration at Baltimore, Maryland, Form SS5 may be obtained from any district office of the Social Security Administration or from any district director. An account number will be assigned to the employee for the Social Security Administration in due course upon the basis of information reported on the application required under this section. A card showing the name and account number of the employee to whom an account number has been assigned will be furnished to the employee by the Social Security Administration. So let's break this paragraph down. This sheds a lot of light on what's going on. First of all, the only time you're supposed to even get a Social Security card is when you're getting ready to go to work, because they're telling you to apply for it when you're, going for a job. That's when you need it, and it's needed for the FICA fund if you want to give that money to FICA. So basically, if you're reading this correctly, they're saying you really don't need a Social Security card or an account number unless you're ready to give away some money. Yeah, FICA is on everybody's check, Marco. All right. FICA's been robbing y'all. Time for filing Form SS5. The application shall be filed on or before the 7th day after the occurrence of the first day of employment. It's telling you when to fill out an SS5 form. But yet, SS5 forms are filled out for children, babies. Okay. Reference made in paragraph A1 of this section. Unless the employee leaves the employer of his employer before such 7th day, in which case the application shall be filed on or before the date on which the employee leaves the employee of his employer. So it's telling you, if you're going to get a job and you want to give some money away, it needs to be done on or before the 7th day on that job, the first job you get. That's when you go get an account number. That makes sense, right? When you turn of age to go get your own account numbers, you go to the bank, you open up your own account when you're ready to put money in it. Right? 3, changes and correction. Any employee may have his account number changed at any time by applying to a district office of the Social Security Administration and showing good reason for a change. With that exception, only one account number will be assigned to an employee. Any employee whose name is changed by marriage or otherwise, or who has stated incorrect information on Form SS5 should report such change or correction to a district office of the Social Security Administration. Copies of the form for making such reports may be obtained from any district office of the administration. So, we have been misled that we need, even when you look at the 1040 and doing a tax return and you have children, they're not even supposed to have an account number yet. But they're wanting to. I think it's if they're over 2 years old, 1 or 2, you have to have a social to put on there to claim them as a dependent, or they won't give it to you. Okay. Duties of employee with respect to his account number. 1. Information to be furnished to employee. An employee shall, on the day on which he enters the employer of an employer for wages, comply with provisions of paragraph B1, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of this section, except that if the employee's services for the employer consist solely of agricultural labor, domestic service in a private home of the employer, not on a farm operated for profit, or service not in the course of the employee's trade or business. The employee shall comply with such provisions on the first day on which wages are paid to him by such employer, within the meaning of Section 31.3121 A-2. I suggest you guys go and read whenever they refer to a code, go read it. All right? I'm not going to read it because for the sake of time. Because as you can see, these codes are extensive, and a lot of times you have to read it several times to really pick it up. Okay, now, employee who has an account number card. If the employee has been an account number card by the Social Security Administration and his has the card available, the employee shall show it to the employer. Employee who has a number but card not available. If the employee does not have available the account number card issued to him by the Social Security Administration, but knows what his account number is and what his name is, exactly as shown on such card, the employee shall advise the employer of such number and name. Care must be exercised that the employee is correctly advised of such number and name. Employee who has receipt acknowledging application. If the employee does not have an account number card but has available a receipt issued to him by an Office of Social Security Administration acknowledging that an application for an account number has been received, the employee shall show such receipt to the employer. Okay, number 4, employee who is unable to furnish number or receipt. Listen closely. If an employee is unable to comply with the requirement of paragraph B1, 1, 2, or 3 of this section, the employee shall furnish the employee shall furnish to the employer a statement in writing signed by the employee, setting forth the date of the statement, the employee's full name, present address, date and place of birth, father's full name, mother's full name before marriage, and the employee's sex, including a statement as to whether the employee has previously filed an application on Form SS5, and, if so, the date and place of such filing. The information required by this subdivision shall be furnished on Form SS5 if a copy of Form SS5 is available. The furnishing such a Form SS5 or other statement, keep in mind they keep saying other statement, by the employee to the employer does not relieve the employee of his obligation to make an application on Form SS5 and file it with District Office of Social Security Administration as required by paragraph A of this section. The foregoing provisions of this subdivision are not applicable to an employee engaged exclusively in the performance of domestic service in the private home of his employer, not on a farm operated for profit, or in the performance of agricultural labor. If the services are performed for an employer other than an employer required to file returns of taxes imposed by Federal Insurance Contributions Act with the Office of the United States Internal Revenue Service in Puerto Rico, however, such employee shall advise the employer of his full name and present address. Now, didn't they just showed you that the United States Internal Revenue Service is in where? Puerto Rico. It just showed you that. So, all right. I wanted y'all to pay attention to other statements. So you can give your employer a statement as to why you don't have an account number, aka Social Security number. I could actually draft up a template to help y'all, but there's always going to be one person that's going to not follow directions and lose their job, and they're going to blame it on me. So I'm not touching that. Okay? So there you go. What I suggest, go back and read this over and over and create you a template for yourself. So that you can stop these contributions coming out of your check. All right. So, if you've already signed a contract with these people, you know what? Let's take questions before I go on, because people are right. So, what if I've already have my info? I don't understand what you're saying, Marco.
Hey, peace, Aki. So this is for people that are like maybe starting a new job and they don't have your social security number or anything like that.
You're going into a new job. You're going into a new employment. Pretty much,
so this won't
already in the job. They got your information. You already signed some contracts. I'm going to go over the W-4 form. So anyway, that you've already filled out. You know, I've done several shows on it, but still people are confused. But I'm going to go over it and show you how even that W-4 form that you already did is not correct. It's not complete. So you can undo that. You know, it tells you there. When we get there, we'll talk about that. All right. Anybody else got a question? Anybody else? Before I move on, keep going. We got some more to read. All right. Okay. 3, furnishing of where was I? That was okay. Additional information to be furnished by employee to employer. Every employee who, on the day on which he is required to comply with paragraph B1, 2, 3, and 4 of this section has an account number card, but for any reason does not show such card to employer on such day shall promptly thereafter show the card to the employer. An employee who does not have an account number card on such day shall, upon receipt of an account number card from the Social Security Administration, promptly show such card to the employer. If he is still in the employ of that employer, if the employee has left the employ of the employer with the employee receives an account number card from the Social Security Administration, he shall promptly advise the employee of his account number and name exactly as shown on such card. Account number originally assigned to an employee. This is basically telling you, you have to show them that card or tell them what the number is, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to keep reading because we're going to bust that wide open because they're making it like it's mandatory. And I noticed they're not saying Social Security number as we know it to be. They're using it, they keep saying account number card. So that is not a Social Security card. It's an account number card. We've only called it a Social Security card because we have been programmed to believe that. That's it. All right. Let's keep going. I'm going to skip down to, okay, let's go to 3. Account number unknown, return is filed. In any case in which the employee's account number is for any reason unknown to the employer at the time of the employee's return is filed, for any return period with respect to which the employer is required to report the wages paid to such employee. Let's read it. If employee has shown receipt for application, if the employee has shown to the employer as provided in paragraph B13 of this section, a receipt issued to him by the Office of Social Security Administration acknowledging that an application for an account number has been received from the employer shall enter on the return with the entry with respect to the employee, the name and address of the employee exactly as shown on the receipt, the expiration date of the receipt, and the address of the issuing office. So he could just show his receipt if he goes get his account number. If employee furnished form SS5 or statement, see they keep saying statement. If the employee has furnished information to the employer as provided in paragraph B1, 4 of this section, the employer shall prepare a copy of the form SS5 or statement furnished by the employee and attach a copy to the return. So what it's saying is you could just give them a statement. And that statement could say, I'm not responsible for U.S. tax returns. I'm not responsible for contributing to FICA. And it could be for religious reasons. See, they keep saying or statement. But see, they're not elaborating on what kind of statement. They're not giving you details on what the statement you can say. So that's subject to interpretation. So they can't penalize you for writing a statement out because you're compliant. You're giving them a statement. And that statement can say whatever you wanted to say. Of course, you wanted something to say in line with something that benefits you. If employee did not furnish receipt form SF5 or statement, they always put that statement at the end. If neither paragraph C3(1) nor 2 of this section is applicable, the employer shall accept as provided in paragraph C4 of this section attached to the return a form SS5 or statement signed by the employer setting forth as fully and clearly as practicable the employee's full name, his present or last known address, date or place of birth, father's full name, mother's full name before marriage, the employee's sex, and his statement as to whether an application for an account number has previously been filed by the employee. So it's asking for a statement. Did you file one? I said, no, I didn't file one. It's against my religion. I'm just giving y'all an idea. And if so, the date and place of such filing. The employer shall also insert in such form SS5 or statement an explanation of why he has not secured from the employee the information referred. In paragraph B14 of this section, it shall insert the word employer. These are instructions as part of his signature. Now let's skip all the way down to 6, prospective employees. While not mandatory, while not mandatory, it is suggested that the employer advise any prospective employee who does not have an account number of the requirements of paragraphs A, B of this section. So they're telling you that the employee is just forcing you to give them a number is false. It's not mandatory. You don't have to give them because they gave them alternatives on giving up that number. And here it is. File returns, taxes imposed by federal with the Office of the United States Revenue Service in Puerto Rico. So all of these employers are filing returns in Puerto Rico with your wages. All right. Any questions before I go on to the next topic or the next section? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Y'all want that template. Y'all can't wait for that, huh? All right. Now, I gave you an idea on how to, if you got a job, you're going to get a new job, there you go. That is very powerful information for you. And you can use it. All right. Now, let's go to the W-4 form, the 1040 form. Here we go. This is the form most people fill out when they do a tax return. If it's a 1040 long form, 1040 easy, it's a 1040. Go down to section 22. And it says this is your total income. What you have to do is put all these numbers in from 7 to 21. That becomes your income, and you add them together, that's income. That's the way they have it defined here. Right? Now, that's what they want you to believe. Let's go to instructions. Now, I did a show on this. Some of you might already know this, but we're going to go over it. So we're going to look for line 22 so we can understand to make sure that if we're going to fill this out, that it's right. Right? It says other income, line 21. And it tells you what other income is. It gives you a full description. It's a very long explanation. It goes all the way up here to down here, all the way down. There's a couple little sections here. Then we're gonna go find 22. Wait a minute. I must have missed something because I don't see 22. Here's 23. Let's go back up. Let's make sure we didn't miss it again. Let's make sure we do. Our eyes ain't messing with us. Line 21. Let's follow it along. Follow it along. Okay, no line 21. No line 21. No line 21. No line 22, I mean. And it's still missing. I wonder why. Why is it? Because they say this is your total income, right? This is the income they're going to use to calculate what you have to pay them minus these little deductions they got over here from 23 to 35. They give you a definition for all of that on how to use that, but they don't give you instructions for 22. All right, so let's go to 31 USC section 321. I already got it highlighted. This is 31 U.S.C. Section 321, General Authority of the Secretary. And this talks about the Secretary of Treasury shall prepare plans for improving managing receipts for the United States government and managing the public debt, carrying out services, issuing warrants, minting coins, all those things, right? Collect receipts, right? So let's go down to D2. Well, let's leave number 1, 2. The Secretary of the Treasury may accept, hold, administer, and use gifts and bequests of property, both real and personal, for the purposes of aiding or facilitating the work of the Department of Treasury. Gifts and bequests of money and the proceeds from sales of other property received as gifts or bequests shall be deposited in the Treasury in a separate fund and shall be dispersed on order of the Secretary of Treasury. Property accepted under this paragraph and the proceeds thereof shall be used as nearly as possible in accordance with the terms of the gift or bequest. Now, I don't know anybody. Do y'all know anybody that is voluntarily giving gifts to the Treasury? Did you even know they took gifts? So why is this here? So let's keep going. Number 2, for the purposes of federal income. Let's stop. Let's go back. Total income. Federal. This is a federal form. Federal income. All right. For the purpose of federal income, estate, and gift taxes, property accepted under paragraph 1 shall be considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States. Now, okay, just for the sake of what is bequest? The action of bequeathing something. That's defining the word. I need, it says a legacy. Let's do it up here. Let me get a better. That's not giving me any. Same thing. A legacy, inheritance, endowment, settlement, more. So you giving up your legacy? You giving up your inheritance to the government? Huh? So, there you have it. Federal income tax is a gift. So if it's a gift, that means you have an option not to give it up. Now, let's go to page 99 of this same form. I show you they don't give you an explanation of line 22 because they know it's a gift, and they would have to tell you that. They can't. They say just total. See, they trick you this way. They say combine the amounts and this is total income, right? But when they give you the instructions, just like you see, I went over line 21 to show you how long that explanation was, right? But when they got to 22, they didn't give you no explanation because they would have to tell you. They would actually have to take that code and put it in here and show you that what you're doing is a gift. They have to give you full disclosure. So being deceptive, what you did omitted that information. It didn't give you full disclosure. And I'm going to address that in the letter. I did somewhat softly in the first letter, but this new letter is going to be asking some very specific questions. All right. Just wanted to show you that. Let's go to page 99 of this same instruction booklet. See, this is the stuff we don't like doing. I don't like doing it. I don't like reading. Look at all these charts. Who wants to read that? And if I read them, I probably wouldn't understand it, right? I mean, they purposely design these things to confuse you and to keep you in the dark because they know people are not reading this. honestly, I haven't read this whole thing. Someone else did it and said, hey, go look at this, and I found it. And I read some of the other stuff. But one thing when you're reading stuff, always read the disclosures statements. Always read those. Because a lot of times in the disclosures, there's a lot of important information. All right, Disclosures, Privacy Act, and Paperwork Reduction Act notice. It's page 100, actually. It says, and when I'm skipping down to the third paragraph, and it says, I got to highlight it. Over legal right to ask for information as the Internal Revenue Code Section 6001, 6011, and 6012A, and their regulations, they say that you must file a return or statement, again, with us for any tax you are liable for. Now, what they're not saying, it should be a statement, because a tax, you could be liable to pay them or not liable, because it depends on your family structure, right? So they always say, or statement with us for any tax you are liable for, because they want to know what they're going to get from you. That's what they want you to think. But it's also liable or not liable. That's what they're not leaving out, right? So basically, you can write a statement to them on reasons why you don't file. You don't have to file. And we're going to get down to that. All right? That's what I wanted to show you. All right, now let's go to the W-4 form, the voluntary withholding agreements. I'm doing all this because it all setting us up for the template. And like I said before, and let me do this now because I always get this after a webinar. The ones who get the free template are the ones who paid for the live webinar. I'm not saying this to you guys. I'm saying that for someone who purchased this after the fact. This is only for the 9 people that signed up. That's it. So don't email me asking me, oh, do I get the...
Peace. What's up? Another episode of Truth Tuesday talking about trust process. I took a minute to start talking. But first, thank everybody for being on tonight. I know I missed Sunday. There's a lot going on. Appreciate you though. If you were tuning in and I wasn't there, I will be there on Sunday. I talk about trust the process, and I'm going to talk about trust the process in a minute. But I was watching that IRS webinar too. I don't know if you saw my face. I showed my camera. I caught something. And right now, I'm pulling up that same form, the instructions, and going back, because I don't think I covered it in the IRS webinar too. So when I do this IRS webinar number 6, yes, we have 5 webinars on the IRS. You got to keep up with them. Oh, I saw something, and I'm looking for it right now. In the paper, it was the part where he was talking about what I was talking about. I'm talking about he. There's something with the Paper Reduction Act. This is so much. You can read all of this really grasp the concept of these returns. But give me a second. I'll get to the topic of discussion. Because I caught something. Because I was trying to read it, but then I panned away from it. So here I am. What I was reading, says you are not required to provide the information requested on the form that is subject to the Paper Reduction Act unless the form displays a valid OMB control number. Books or records related to a form or its instructions must be retained as long as their contents may become material in administration of any internal government law. So basically what they're saying, anything you give them can and will be used against you if they find problems with it. Remember, all tax returns are what you call snitch forms. You're basically snitching on yourself, and you're subject to their scrutiny. Just want to remind y'all of that. Okay? Want to keep you understanding that. I'm not telling you what to do or not do. I'm just saying, anytime you submit anything to the IRS, you are subject for it to be scrutinized, and you are placing yourself in a position to be penalized if they deem it to be fraud, or if they deem, yes, to be fraud. And as you know, they can accuse you of that at a drop of a hat. Just so you know. All right? Well, give me a sec. Give me a second. All right. So, topic of discussion is trust the process. But before we talk about that, that reminds me. So I was doing some research. And I always talk about the Bible is about numbers. And I'm going to make some comparisons. I'll go more in depth about this on Sunday, but I was reading the book of Numbers, and specifically the part where God or the Lord, in these scriptures, they say the Lord told Moses how to divide the tribes of Israel. Right? It was 12 tribes. It was actually 13 tribes. But 12 tribes were the military part, right? They used for the military, like the tribe of Reuben, Simeon, Gad, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Manasseh, Benjamin, Dan, Asher, Naphtali. Those are those 12 tribes. They required boys 20 or 21 years of age and older, men, let's just say men, males, 21 of older was required to be part of the military. Yeah. So when you have governments that do that, they're just following what the Bible has been doing. Yes, they have been following what the Bible has been doing. Now, they had 12 tribes that was to select boys of competent age, men of competent age, to be a part of the military. Right? There was a 13th tribe called the Levites. They were the in charge of the Ark of the Covenant, the protecting all of the sacred religious items. They was in charge of the tent of meetings, the worship tent, all of that. That's what they was strictly for that. And it was camped out in the middle, surrounded by the tribes. You had to the east, it was Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. They were the first tribe. They were to march first. If there was any type of military action, they marched first. South was Reuben, Simeon, Gad. They marched second. Tent of meetings, the Levites. So the tent of meeting was the Levites. They were in the middle. West was Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin. That was the west. North was Dan, Asher, Naphtali. They had it all north, south, east, west, Levites in the middle, guarding Ark of the Covenant, in charge of taking down, dealing with anything that had to do with the religious items. And no one else could touch them. No one else could touch them. And if anyone came that was not a Levite and touched them, they was put to death. Okay? That's how serious it was. So, I'm not going to go through each tribe. I'm going to do this on Sunday. But total, after they gathered all of the males to be part of the military, it was 603,550. $6,000 500. Think about that number. And this was just the males that were of competent age to be a part of the military. And this was only 2 years after they came out of Egypt. Now, if you have a military size of 603,550 2 years after coming out of Egypt, imagine how large a group of people that this exodus from Egypt, because it was not only the Israelites, it was also a vast mixed company that went with them. Sunday I'll read the scriptures and break it all down. Oh, give me a second. Think about that. Just stop and do some critical thinking. Stop and do some critical thinking about that number. And this is just males. So you know, in the society that we live in now, what is for every man, it's 7 to 10 women, right? Not counting children. So you're talking about a group that left Egypt, was in probably in the millions. Just imagine that. Millions of people marching out of Egypt in the wilderness. And you remember there, they stayed stuck for 30 years, according to the scripture. Moses never got to see the promised land because he screwed up one time and didn't give God glory about the water that was given to the people. God was so strict. Yeah, you let the people know, did it. And because you didn't let them know, you ain't getting to see this promised land. And he caused Israel, he took them out and caused them to, because they were mumbling and grumbling and complaining, they stayed stuck for 30 years. Or maybe 33 years. I gotta do the numbers. Millions. See, Reverend Ike always spoke about the Bible being an allegory. Because this segues into what I was talking about. Trust the process. Trust the process. Because see, some of y'all are stuck in y'all situations. But before I say that, that's millions of people exiting Egypt, on to a new adventure, on to leveling up. Maybe I'm doing Sunday show today, huh? On to leveling up. And when they got out there, you know, they complained that when Moses took too long, they made a golden calf and started worshiping this, something they made with their hands, instead of giving thanks to the God that actually delivered them from slavery out of Egypt. This is what they did. And because they did all of these unappreciative things, they forgot the power of God within them, within their midst, because God let them by day by fire. I mean, by what was it? Cloud by day, fire by night. They were led. The vision was in front of them. The direction was in front of them. All they had to do was follow it. But you got to imagine, if it's millions of people, there's somebody in the back of that line that can't see that. So they got to follow everyone else. So that means that everybody got to be on the same page, because one murmurer is going to filter around and cause doubt in the group. But just think about this number, millions of people leaving Egypt on a quest to a promised land. It's always a promised land waiting for God's people. There's always a trial and tribulation, according to the Bible, how they wrote it. But when you compare that to your life today, some of y'all are in the wilderness right now. And instead of giving thanks for the trials and tribulations that you might be facing, you're complaining. And you might be even like, why isn't no one else going through this? Why me? You forget to see the fire. You forget to see the cloud. You forget to see the power of God that even got you to that point. Right? Everything was all good until it started going bad. Now, why have you forsaken me? Like Job, you know, he was doing good until it started going bad. Then he asked the question, what's going on? And Job was wealthy already, right? But after he went through his trial, he was more wealthier than he was before. And some of y'all are going through that right now. You had it going good. Things was flowing. Oh man, I'm good. Nobody can tell me nothing. God is good to me. But now things ain't going your way. Things ain't going the way it's planned. You going through, you being sifted, you have been chosen. This is your time to see if you ready for the next level. Because some of y'all said y'all want to be millionaires. Some of y'all said billionaires. Some of y'all even said trillionaires. Some of y'all said y'all wanted a good wife, a good husband. Y'all wanted some things. But in order to get those things, because you don't have it right now, that means you ain't ready. You ain't the person that's ready for that right now. In order to get what you're asking for, the person you are today must leave, must be put behind. Meaning old habits, watching television too much. Whatever it is you doing right now that's consuming your time, that's not productive, must change. And the reason why you stuck as the allegorical wilderness, mental wilderness, is because you have not gotten rid of some things. You haven't got rid of some people. You still letting them little ones come about that ain't that you know ain't about nothing, or not about what you want, where you're going. But you still want to hang around because why? They temporarily make you feel good. For some reason, you can't give it up. You won't sacrifice those relationships. So until you sacrifice those relationships, whether it be people, situations, and even a job, you will never see that promised land. And that's what happened. You know that they were the journey to the promised land was not even a week's journey. Think about that. Millions of people, God, He's gonna have them walk for 30 years. It wasn't even a day's journey. So what does that mean? That they were where they were going was right around the corner, so to speak. But they couldn't see it. Know why they couldn't see it? Because all they could see was complaints. All they can see was the problem. The reason why you can't see that wealth you're looking for, because all you can see is what you don't have. All you see is, why is this going wrong? That's the problem. You taking your eye off of the prize and placed it on the problem. Trust the process. Because it took a lot of trust for people, that last person in the back, to follow all of these people. They had to trust the process and know that with the direction they're going in is the right direction. Because not everybody could see that. That marquee, that representation of God leading them the right way. Think about it. Think about your current situation right now. What idea, what is it that's you holding on to that you just can't get to that point to where you want to go? What is it? What is it? While you're pondering that question, let me just give you another fun fact. Fun fact. Fact. Y'all do know that the United States of America was made up of 13 colonies at first. And if you study real hard and you look at it, they place Washington, D.C. right in the middle. So when I tell you y'all use this Bible for y'all freedom, for your protection, this is what they're doing. They're doing exactly that. They created 13. It was 13 original colonies. Was that by accident? When you go to the Bible, it's 13. The Levites was the priesthood class, and the rest of them was the war class, the warrior class, the protection class. And this number 13 pops up on everywhere. They say 13 is this society, this Western country said 13 was an unlucky number. No, it's not. It's a divine number. Same thing with apostles. You see this numbers everywhere. The apostles 12 in Christ, right in the middle. So basically, the apostles represented each one of the 12 tribes, with Christ, the Levite class, the priesthood class, right in the middle, 13. I suggest y'all get back into the Bible and read it. And read it. written on parchment paper. And if it wasn't that important, why do these companies always want a copyright to it? Because they know the value of that spell book. I remember seeing that movie, The Book of Eli. But back to the wilderness, back to you trusting the process. If you're going through something right now, you're going through a process to teach you how to appreciate everything that you have and not to judge. Because you will be judged by the measure you judge out. Looking down on folks, you will be looked down on. You will be put in a position for people to look down on you. You wishing bad things for people, bad things gonna come to you. I talk to people talking about, yeah, I know how to cast spells and do all of that. Let me y'all understand. Yeah, you might be able to cast a spell, but yeah, you cast a spell on somebody else. Guess what? You're gonna cast a spell on yourself 20 times that, 10 to 20 times. See, everybody, I got the power. I can do this and that. Yeah, but you don't know you casting that thing right back to you. There's no what you reap, but you sow what you reap. You reap what you sow. Everybody, I want to learn how to do these special magic. Yeah, it all comes with consequences. You see, to hurt, you will be hurt. You see, to criticize, you will be criticized. That's why your focus need to be solely on yourself, making sure you are staying in divine order. So think about that. Because all around, I hear people talking about things are hard. And if you're talking about things are hard, they're going to stay hard. You gotta trust the process. Because by you, the mere fact that you calling it hard, difficult, is a form of a complaint. It's a form of condemnation to your situation. You have just judged it. And you will get the results of that judgment. That's why the only judgment you should be given is righteous judgment, meaning, hey, everything's great. My wealth is good. My bank account's in order. When you're about to go to that, you will be tested. See, it's all good when it's great. God is good and great, but when it go bad, all of a sudden, you forget God. And then you start thinking, what do I need to do to fix this? The first thing you need to do before you do anything is start thanking God. The God within you. Thanking him for whatever you have. I know it's hard, especially when you're dealing with low bank account. I know it, but it's got to be faithful. Because nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. Nothing. And the only way it's going to change is by the choice you put your the things you put your consciousness on. And sometimes you're stuck because you're not giving up some things. You're not giving up the old you, the old friends, old habits. And I'm learning something. Stop talking about what I'm doing all the time. Hey, I don't even want to I'm not sharing that stuff no more. Between me and me. Me and the God within me. All right. I think I said enough. I'll finish this on this Sunday talk. I'll finish this. Trust the process. Stay faithful. Meaning using only good words, positive words on your situation, even if it's not ideal. Stay strong. Stay strong in your faith that everything's working out in your favor. Peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. Peace.